Hey everyone, I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe. I hope everyone's practicing social distancing, being responsible during this whole pandemic. I'm back home in Akron. Hopefully, I can get back to Chicago sooner than later. But I know you guys are probably bored, so I want to give my suggestions on some movies and some shows you can watch while you're quarantined. My list might look a little different than other people's lists because I'm not going to pick like the best movies I've ever seen because that's obviously movies you'd want to watch during quarantine, like the best movies ever. I'm not going to do something like that. I'm going to pick movies that I feel like are a good time to watch now if you want to get caught up with movies that are about to come out or directors having a movie come out and you want to watch his or hers older work to get more familiar with it. And then I'll just name some movies that I think are fun you can watch at home that I don't feel like not many people watch, even though they're pretty popular, but I feel like I don't really talk about these movies that much with people besides my close friends. But right off the bat, I'll get some of the classics out already. Like, obviously, if you haven't seen like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or Star Wars or any of the Scorsese movies, or like Apocalypse Now or any of the Godfather movies or anything like that. If you haven't seen any of those movies, just go on IMDb top 250 and you'll see a lot of those movies, like a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies. Those movies you should obviously watch. Got that out of the way. Now I'm going to go into some movies that I feel like you should watch to be a little caught up. For example, now, I feel like it'd be a great idea to watch the Daniel Craig James Bond movies if you haven't seen them. And if you have seen them, you should rewatch them. I just rewatched Casino Royale last night. I'm going to review it soon. They're great movies. Some suck, some were great, but No Time to Die got pushed back, so I feel like you guys should watch those movies now to get familiarized, get caught up, or just get a refresh, because they are fun movies. And I think everyone can enjoy them too. Next, with Black Widow being pushed back, I feel like this would be a great time, if you haven't seen the MCU, to watch the MCU movies. I understand it's a lot of movies, and I will go through them right now to pick out the ones you should watch to get the full effect of like Endgame and Infinity War, because that's really what all it matters, to be honest. And then can be caught up to the point where you can watch Black Widow and be familiarized with everything. We'll say though, to get the full effect, you gotta watch every movie, but I understand it's a lot of movies, so I'll break down the ones I think are necessary to watch. Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America the First Avenger, The Avengers, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Captain America: Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Thor: Ragnarok, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Avengers: Endgame. And then watch Spider-Man Far From Home at the end. A lot of people argue there's too many movies on the list, or some people argue that not all the movies are on the list. Those are just the movies I personally feel like if you want to get the emotional effect of Endgame and Infinity War and understand what's going on, you gotta watch those movies. And the ones I didn't list, there are some great movies that I didn't list that you can still watch if you want to watch. Like Black Panther's great, Spider-Man's great. Like there are other movies that are great that I didn't mention on that list. But got those out of the way. It's a great time to catch up with the MCU now because you have plenty of time to do it. Don't view it as watching like 20 movies. View it as like watching 3 episodes of your favorite show or show you're binging every time you watch a movie. Don't view it like you're watching all these movies. View it like you're trying to finish a show that you really like. Fast and Furious movies got pushed back so you can rewatch all the Fast movies. Matrix 4 is coming out, so watch the Matrix movies. Matrix 1 is fantastic. Revolutionized action, everything, it's great. The other two aren't that great. Just heads up. But to get caught up, you should watch the Matrix movies. Now, Tenet is coming out this summer. So with Christopher Nolan's new movie, normally every time he makes a movie, it's the movie of the year. Or at least top 3, whatever. If you haven't, which would be surprising if you haven't, rewatch all the Nolan movies. Why not? Memento, the Dark Knight trilogy, Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, all of them. Watch them. They're great movies. They're fun. They're always exciting. They're always just mind-blowing, like what's going on. Now, Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch is coming out this summer. Well, I hope it does. Wes Anderson has a very unique way of filmmaking. It's very strange, it's colorful, it's funny, it's awesome. I love it. I think Wes Anderson is one of the most unique filmmakers, honestly, of all time. And I think his movies are very entertaining just by the style of them. If you haven't seen a Wes Anderson movie, go watch a Wes Anderson movie. It might not be for you, but you at least need to try it out. My favorite Wes Anderson movie is The Grand Budapest Hotel. You watch that, or go watch Fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom, or Isle of Dogs. One of those movies, they're great. The Grand Budapest Hotel is my favorite one. Now, a movie you should watch is Citizen Kane. I'm not saying that because it's like the greatest movie ever. It's like a claim to be the greatest movie ever. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever. It's one of the greatest movies ever. But I'm saying to watch it now because David Fincher's new movie is like a biopic about how that movie was made. And David Fincher always makes great movies. Gone Girl and The Social Network are fantastic. The Social Network is one of my favorite movies of all time. So rewatch Citizen Kane, maybe some David Fincher movies. Denis Villeneuve. Whatever. His movie is coming out this year. It's called Dune. It's going to be a remake of the 1980s Dune, and I think it's going to be amazing. It's based off a book. Everyone raves about the book. It's supposed to be fantastic, and he is one of the best directors working today. So if you haven't seen any of his movies, go see him. Watch Blade Runner 2049 is a masterpiece. With Blade Runner, watch both of them. Arrival is fantastic. I thought Arrival was great. No one really talks about that much. And a movie that no one ever talks that he made is Prisoners. And Prisoners was one of the best movies I saw that year. And it is just a very disturbing and chilling story, but it's so well done. It's so interesting, and you're on the edge of your seat almost every single scene. Got like upcoming movies that you should like watch or whatever, or like the directors, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So I'll talk about some movies that you should watch that I talk about a lot or I really love that we don't really talk about that much. Quickly, the Back to the Future trilogy. I feel like no one ever talks about it anymore, and I really can't tell if it's just because no one in our generation's seen it. But if you haven't, watch Back to the Future, one of the greatest movies of all time. And Part 2 and Part 3 are great too. They're really fun and they're really enjoyable, and everyone can watch those movies. How to Train Your Dragon? I mean, the trilogy just got completed this past year, and it was a great ending, a great conclusion. 1 and 2 are so good. They're both some of my favorite animated movies of all time. 3 is still great, just not as good as 1 and 2, but watch those movies if you haven't seen those. Like I said about Back to the Future, anyone can enjoy those movies. They're fun, they're colorful, and they're exciting. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies. I feel like I've never been in the Star Trek. I've never seen any of the old Star Trek stuff. I've only seen the J.J. Abrams stuff. But it's just an exciting sci-fi movie. And J.J. Abrams is a great director in that sense where he can really flesh out action very well. And I think if you really just enjoy movies, or you've enjoyed the new Star Wars movies, or just the way J.J. Abrams makes movies, you'll love Star Trek. And you'll love Star Trek Into Darkness. And even In Beyond is still good too, even though J.J. Abrams didn't do it. Watch those movies. I think Star Trek, the first one, is J.J. Abrams' best movie. I think it's better than The Force Awakens. Watch that. And then the most underappreciated and underrated trilogy of all time, the Planet of the Apes trilogy. Not the original one, but the new one, Rise, Dawn, and War. No one ever talks about these movies except for my friend group. No one talks about these movies. Each movie is unbelievable. Each movie is, I can't think of anything wrong with each movie. Go watch Rise, go watch Dawn, go watch War. They're each different in their own way, and they're all so good. I honestly haven't heard one person complain about these movies. Everyone says, oh yeah, they're great, but no one ever talks about them. Go watch those movies too. Now I'll get into some shows because I'm going kind of long. I'm not really going to go into too much. But okay. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, watch Breaking Bad. I mean, if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, what are you doing? Greatest show of all time. But I'm not going to talk about that. The reason I'm saying watch Breaking Bad is because Better Call Saul is on, and last night's episode was amazing, but like the whole series of Better Call Saul has really blown me away too. It's probably like the best prequel thing I've ever seen, to be honest. So I think watch Breaking Bad so you can get caught up with Better Call Saul. It might be too late for the new season, but at least the new season will be out so you can just watch it through. Westworld, only 2 full seasons are out, and season 3 has been great so far, even though season 2 has been kind of like whatever. But season 3 I've really liked so far. It's only been 2 episodes. You can get through Westworld seasons 1 and 2 to be caught up by 3 before the finale for sure. And season 1 is one of the best seasons of television in my opinion. I'm watching Peaky Blinders right now, so watch that if you haven't watched it yet, because I love it so far. I'm on season 2. And I started Succession. I really liked it, but then I just wanted to get Peaky Blinders out of the way first. Succession's really good so far, and I heard it gets better. That's coming back. I don't know when that's coming back. I'm assuming soon. I don't know. But watch Succession. It's really good. But the one show I'm going to say that you should watch, it's going to go against my thing bringing up like greatest of all time and stuff, but Sopranos. Sopranos is my second favorite television show ever, behind Breaking Bad. With The Sopranos, one, you have plenty of time to watch it, and it's easy to watch. It's just very interesting, and it's a show about just a mob guy, his family issues. It doesn't really go too deep into like the actual mob stuff. It's more about the personal stuff. The mob stuff's in there, and it's interesting, but it's just really well written. It's never not interesting. It's always just investing because the characters are so great too. But the reason I'm saying you should watch The Sopranos right now is because there's a prequel series or movie. It's one of the two. I can't really tell. I think it's an HBO movie. But a prequel movie is coming out in September. I think it's still happening. Don't know with all the COVID-19 stuff. But that's plenty of time for you to finish Sopranos in time for you to be able to watch this prequel movie that's coming out about Tony Soprano when he was like a kid or a young adult or whatever it is. So those are my suggestions right now for this quarantine. I understand that there's so many movies out there. If you really wanted me to talk about it for as long as I could, it'd take hours for me to talk about all the TV shows and movies you should watch right now. But I know this quarantine is going to last longer than people think, but hopefully it's not too long. I feel like with being in 2020, these are the movies and shows you should watch So when this quarantine is officially lifted, you can be pretty much caught up or ready for whatever next movie or television show is coming out or is coming out right now. Like I said, definitely missed a lot of movies and shows, but if you ever want to reach out to me and ask for other suggestions beside this, I'm all ears. I really love to hear what you guys think. So what are you guys going to watch during this quarantine? I'm really curious to hear. Thank you guys so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey Dave's Takes.